The XFL Gambling Podcast Week 8 preview and picks episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Networks, brought to you by Shady Rays. Go to shadyrays.com. Use the promo code SGPN for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. We're also brought to you by the Golf Gambling Podcast tailor-made Stealth 2 driver giveaway. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/driver to enter today before the big drawing on April 8th. We're also brought to you by Baseball Money is Fake. Yes, our fantasy baseball podcast. Join Blake and Ryan 3 times a week and get all the player breakdowns and statistical data that you need to dominate your fantasy league. So make sure you're subscribed over there. And remember, as always, to let it ride.
This is Brock Purdy from Iowa State, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Is this or is this not the XFL? Yes, it is. Do I or do I not currently have a pulse? Yes, I do. Let's play football.
Welcome to the XFL Gambling Podcast Week 8 preview and picks edition. We got some big games on the slate, and you're probably wondering just who the hell you're listening to. Well, my name is Colby Swinging Dant C.J, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. Would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, tailless pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
You are going to pay for it this week if you listen to old Pick Dundee. I'm going 3-1 every week, guys. Every week.
Just keep posting them up.
Can't go 4-0. Impossible. Impossible. It's like the 72 Dolphins.
That's all you do. Hang up 3-1s.
Impossible to go 4-0. Oh, you got a loaded slate. I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for the host of the Bottom Line Bombs podcast, which you should be subscribed to. They call him the man in the box, and I think if you're in Chicago, you can catch him in the box doing some stand-up. Where are you going to be, buddy?
The Improv out in Schaumburg there. So it's Chicagoland area.
There you go. So what are you doing this weekend? Get out because you want to check out this guy because he's the type of guy.
He's the kind of guy that would drink a gallon of gasoline so he could piss in your campfire. You could drop this guy off at the Arctic Circle wearing a pair of bikini underwear without his toothbrush, and tomorrow afternoon he's going to show up at your poolside with $1 million smile and a fistful of pesos.
Woo! CJ Sullivan, how you doing, brother?
Thank you, Colby. It's always a treat to watch you do the Wheels of Steel on the iPad with the soundboard. I just recorded the Bottom Line Bombs before this. You're gracious enough to lend me that soundboard. I can't do half the things you can when you tickle the ivories.
Takes a while.
It does take a while to get to. Right? I'm throwing them out willy nilly. They make no sense. I don't care. I like blasting them. I'm like a monkey on a piano, just fucking doing these things. But I'm excited for this weekend. I got the hat on. I forgot. I brought this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. We got our golf correspondent also.
Yeah, it's Masters weekend. So my Bottom Line Bombs was giving out Masters plays, and I forgot to put on my hat, my Scumbagger Vance look that I have going on here.
Scumbagger Vance in studio with us.
That's my new character, Scumbagger Vance, for the golf weekend, and with the hat.
Check out the Bottom Line Bombs podcast for the Masters plays, as obviously that goes on this weekend. We are also joined by third man in the booth, the host of Old Fashioned Football. Hey, I was that big guest he was talking about, CJ. Remember?
You kept piping a big guest for Old Fashioned Football to premiere. I was like, who could it possibly be? He's going to be Brian Scott.
I know.
Is it coming?
It's Pick Dundee. Throw that.
Jack Youngblood. It was Pick Dundee, our very own.
I mean, making my, look, I understand, I appreciate that hype, J-Mark, but anyway, give it up for Justin Mark, host of the Old Fashioned Football Podcast. We like to call him Liquid Lunch. How you doing over there, brother?
Doing good. Had a good pod with you last night. It was fun. CJ, question for you. When are you coming to Iowa for stand-up?
Iowa stand-up, go to Penguins in Cedar Rapids.
Oh, that's a lot.
Are
what
you
about
going
Des Moines?
there soon?
Cedar Rapids too far? That's the problem thing. Like, when are you coming to Iowa? And I say a town, oh, that's 9 hours away. Well, what the fuck should I know? I just see Iowa on the map. I don't know.
When are you going there?
On the ticket. I'm not. I'll let you know. I'm coming through. I'll make a big Iowa summer tour, Children of the Corn style. I'll let you know.
I like it.
Yeah.
Don't you have the state fair or something? Isn't that a big deal?
The Iowa State Fair is world renowned, right?
Yeah.
J Mark?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty great.
There you go.
Yeah, that's no joke.
You know what else is world renowned is this next guy, because we have a special guest on the show. I'm excited to have this guy on the show. And as a guy that grew up, in the DC area, I'm excited to see this guy rooting for this team, the DC Defenders. He is the host of look at that shirt. Look at that shirt. Watch it on YouTube, youtube.com, the XFL Gambling Podcast.
Flex it.
Host of the Local Defenders Podcast, which you need to be checking out. And I want, I'll talk about it in a second. Give it up for Steven Doman. How you doing, Steven? Appreciate you coming on.
Doing good, fellas. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, and I almost had you joint, like you were on the show with the creator of the Beer Snake. We were trying to get on the show, and I was going to have an all DC, we're going to have a lemon party on this show, essentially. So,
well, now it's just going to be episodes. It's going to be like serial the podcast. It's going to be 20 DC Defender episodes season long.
So, Steven, you're from Detroit. I'm curious this journey here, because as a guy, I grew up in DC. I grew up a Redskin fan. And they're gone, and they were gone. I quit in '98 when I was way ahead of the curve on the Snyder thing, right?
Good call.
I quit in '98 when he cut Brian Mitchell and signed Deion Sanders and did a few other things, like pretty much got rid of the band. But I'm curious how you came to be a Defenders fan growing up in Detroit, Michigan. You had told us, pre-episode that you were from Detroit. So tell the audience how that happened and about the Local Defenders Podcast.
Yeah. So, like you said, grew up in Detroit. I moved to DC. I've been here for like 8 to 10 years now. And, being a Lions fan and, with until like
the curse of Bobby Lane, baby.
Yeah. Until recently, it hasn't been much to root for, but, the Commanders with the stadium, I live downtown. Stadium's a pain in the ass to get to. It's 45 minutes away. So when they brought the XFL here, in 2020, the stadium's right downtown. My buddy and I were sports junkies, so we got season tickets. There was no reason not to.
Yeah.
And that season was cut short, and we kept our season tickets. And then we're like, let's just shoot the shit and start a podcast and just see where it goes. So we just do weekly episodes, recap, preview, picks, and we've actually had a couple players on as well. So
hell yeah, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
Buzzard Point. Maybe our favorite stadium.
Yeah.
Maybe our favorite area in the stadium.
They're way ahead of the curve on playing in the MLS stadiums. I think every spring league should try to pigeonhole those as their stadiums, because they it makes it look packed. It's like when I saw the Charter game out that I saw XFL Wildcats game and a Charger
rate
game
out there,
whatever that shit's called now, where you bring gotta bring your membership. But that I thought it was like an intimate football experience, and I thought this is way better than seeing them at these gigantic stadiums. Where Anyway,
I completely agree. I mean, I've gone to every home game this year, and just the location alone, it being right downtown. I mean, that's just a huge draw for people who, are Defenders fans. I mean, DC is kind of like a mixture anyway.
Yeah.
So
they're starving for football because that Commanders team or whatever, they hate their fans.
Yeah.
Obviously, the fans hate them.
Yeah. Look, growing up in that area, everyone loved football. And the fact that there's not really college football there. I mean, Maryland, I guess. But I just felt like they've always. I mean, I grew up in the heyday of the Redskins being dominant, right. And you couldn't go a block without someone wearing some Redskins gear. So now that they're officially gone, and Snyder just detonated that team. I'm all on board on the Defenders, and I've been saying the USFL should bring the Washington Federals back. But I mean, they need to be doing these things because it's a football thirsty town. Give them what they want. And I love seeing the Defenders. I have a future on them to win. I got to ask you this. You said you had season tickets in 2020, right?
Yeah.
How was it getting your money back?
So
when COVID hit.
All right. So part of the reason why we kept our season tickets for 2023 was because it was slightly difficult to get a full refund of the tickets.
Yeah.
But
Vince McMahon was on his yacht saying, "Fuck you."
he did not give a shit. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, because you didn't know that they were bringing back DC? If I feel like they were like, "Well, we don't know who the teams are." So when did they contact you saying, we're gonna have the franchise back?
Pretty much after The Rock bought it, which was early 2022, late 2021.
Yeah.
You got like an impounds auction sale or something like.
Yeah, it's like, you want this 88 Chevy Blazer for $1,000? And it's like, now we got the XFL.
Yeah, I'll buy that
2.0.
XFL. To come season tickets already in plan. We fucked them over, so they come with the purchase.
Oh man,
we did get a discount on keeping them, so they tried to do the season ticket holders right.
Have you participated in the beer snake?
So I have not.
Okay.
We have we're in the club seats. I'm 30 years
you have
old.
good seats.
Flexing.
Yeah.
That is like a combination of like a tailgate or college football stadium and like the waste management. They chuck beers after they score. They're blowing lemons at players. I mean,
I was just gonna say,
rowdy as hell.
I was just
I'm
gonna say,
too old for that.
take me through that lemon debacle that week one, which was the Seattle game, which they're playing of this week. But like, hilarious thing when they turn off the beer snake, they like, you can't do that. But here's full half-size lemons with every drink you buy. What are they thinking?
I have no idea where that came from. I mean, the big thing in that game was they obviously were trying to do the beer snake in that section.
Right.
And like it felt like 5 minutes, security guards would go through whenever they had some momentum with the beer snake, and they would basically just chop it up. And so the stadium would go nuts and start booing. And I have no idea where these lemons came from.
Yeah.
Like at one point they had to like clear the players off the field because they were getting hit with the lemons. I mean, it was wild.
They were doing some drink special, I guess. It was vodka drink that came with half-size lemons. Like, what do you think's going to happen?
They need to realize.
It's like having a brick and bourbon.
They need to realize that sells itself.
Yeah.
That sells itself, and obviously the beer snake does too. And it seems like they came to their senses in week 2, but I still see them tweet out things of like, this section's allowed for the beer snake.
Yeah.
This is not. And I'm always responding saying, dude, what are you doing?
Right.
Don't shoot what you got going good for you here. You know what I mean?
Although I do love moments like that when security and people making minimum wage, their job is to break up fun. Like, sorry, I'm just here to break up the joy, and they're just smashing cups. Too much joy happening here. We got to break that up. It's the opening night. We're trying to have an image here.
It wasn't hurting anybody. I don't understand where that was coming from.
It was just too much joy. They're like something's going bad's going to happen. It was opening night though on ESPN. They're probably thinking like, well, maybe we don't want our first impression to be a 50-yard long.
Well, at least it's packed. I mean, come on,
Listen,
like you want them to come back.
Right. I don't know why they would think that, but that's why.
But I mean, another thing is the lemon cost. I mean, look, if it's anything like the egg game right now in our country, right? I feel like lemons could be next.
Right. Well, that would be downright wasteful.
You're just giving them a half a lemon with whatever type of beer they're drinking, or the vodka. What was that? A vodka soda?
It was a vodka.
Yeah.
How about a slice? What are you doing with a full size?
Who's that bartender?
Jesus.
Who's that bartender? Oh, man. All right. Well, look, we got some news this week. We're going to get to picking the games and obviously talk about the biggest game of the week, the DC Defenders, as they head into Seattle to take on Danuch and the Sea Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
But we have quite a bit of news here. So somehow, some way, Paxton Lynch has moved along. Paxton Lynch.
It was
this guy.
I know. When was it announced that Orlando got rid of him? First of all, that
I didn't catch that until J-Mark. Yeah. What's up?
It was not. It was announced that the Brahmas have claimed Paxton Lynch from the Guardians, which makes no sense.
Right.
Well, you using that guy?
Roster, right?
This is another attempt, in my opinion. This is like there's red flags. Like, look, I love the DC Defenders. I love the XFL, but there are some red flags on like how the hell Luis Perez gets traded for a linebacker that's never played. Then you have a situation like, well, Ben Kirk comes in, he breaks 3 of his ribs, he's out for the season, he's gone. So all of a sudden they magically end up with Paxton Lynch. I raise a lot of questions when the league owns every team. It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
And I definitely support your conspiracy theory here. We're all in cahoots trying to get the league going, except for the one thing going against that is it's Paxton Lynch. So I think Orlando,
they're trying to hurt the Brahmas.
Right. I think Orlando is playing the long game here. Now, as we know, they're our 150-1 favorite to come in and win this thing. They play San Antonio next week. So they're like, all right, let's get him in there. Let's get him acclimated to San Antonio so we can lock up that win next week when we have to face Paxton Lynch. I think it's kind of genius.
Oh man. So the Brahmas get Paxton Lynch. Yeah. I mean, the guy's been on he was in the CFL, I don't know, like 14 months ago. He's still in the USFL. He's still bouncing around.
He's still an upgrade, though.
He is an upgrade.
Is he? I mean, that offense can't be any worse.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
true.
They're so bad.
But I mean, I guess there was moments, in Orlando where he looked maybe all right. He looked better than Francois. So there's that.
He looked better than Francois. He didn't make up stories about other teammates selling his playbook to other teams and handing out and giving out his plays like Francois did to our guy Dormandy.
Yeah, Dormandy, take it over the XFL world. All right, look, we're going to talk a couple more transactions, but before we do that, I want to tell you that the XFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Shady Rays. Yes, kick off the new year with new gear built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered from the sun to the slopes, baby. So maybe our guy Paxton Lynch, I feel like he's going from the sun to the slopes pretty much every day with premium polarized shades, customizable snow goggles, and much, much more. Shady Rays is an independent sunglass company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair you've ever worn in your life. They got durable frames, extremely clear optics for the outdoor adventures, CJ.
Yes.
For catching a Guardians or whatever team Paxton Lynch is on now.
Keep the lemon juice out of your eyes. And people
Keep the lemon juice out of your eye. That's not all, too. Shady Rays offers the most absolutely insane protection in all eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. So let's say you're at Aldi Field. You're enjoying a DC game. And damn if a lemon doesn't hit you right in the eye when you're wearing your sunglasses and they're broken, right? They're broken. You're upset. Well, other sunglasses companies will tell you, well, you're kind of up Schitt's Creek there. No, not here. All right, you just go right in. They're not even going to ask you what happened. They're not going to say what you got hit by. You got hit at Aldi by a lemon party going on there. Not even going to ask that question. Just going to go boom, give you the glasses back. Look, I mean, it's just absolutely fantastic. All right. Wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after your purchase. That includes after day one. You could be on the way home from purchasing these glasses and you get in a little road rage incident, right? Maybe you get in a road rage incident and someone's got the old Louisville Slugger.
Not Shady Rays problem. They're not asking questions.
They're not asking questions. All right. They're not. Maybe it's his fault. Right. You know what I mean? Their fault. His or hers fault. Not a problem. They got you covered with the new pair. And look, to date, they're a great company too. They have donated over 20 million meals to fight hunger, feeding America. So their heart's in the right place.
Wow.
All right.
Hungry kids need sunglasses too.
Hungry kids need to protect the sun. They need protection from the sun. If you don't love them, you can also exchange for a new pair, or you can return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop with Shady Rays. Their team always has your back. And right now, exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving you out the best deal of the new year. Go to shadyrays.com. Use the promo code SGPN for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. And look, there's over 200,000 5-star ratings on this company. That's a lot. That is more than That's a lot more than what was at the Guardians game last week. All right. So check out Shady Rays. Wow. All right.
That was a hell of an attitude.
Thank you, buddy. I've been working on that one.
You better
in front of the mirror.
You better get a free pair for that.
There you
Jesus
go.
Christ. That was work.
Some other XFL news. Kelly Bryant, who was trying out for the WWE just like 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Guess he didn't make the cut and says, let me hop on over and try out for the Renegades.
Clemson quarterback, right?
Yeah, former Clemson / Missouri quarterback. This one makes sense to me because once again, I've made this theory that why DC has such an advantage. Yes, their offensive line is great, but they also do a lot of option read with De'Ara King or Jordan Tamu. And I think freezing the defense up, key. Getting a mobile quarterback, key. Kelly Bryant, could he be that guy for the Renegades?
Kelly Bryant was the quarterback before Trevor Lawrence talking about. Yeah, he was great.
Yeah.
Well, champion.
Wait, was he after? Yeah, he went.
I think he was
Watson.
He was like the poor man Jalen Hurts, kind of like at Alabama, where he had a storied career, and then all of a sudden a phenom came in and pushed him out, so he moved on.
And then he tried to be a wrestler, and then
then he tried to become a wrestler. Was Jalen Hurts? Never can be in his future.
You never know.
Squatting 650. Why can't
he? Renegades though. Wait, they have Luis Perez. They got Drew Plitt. What's going on here? They got 30 quarterbacks.
I mean, didn't
Anderson get in the game? Wait, was it Anderson?
Yeah,
Anderson,
right?
What's going on now? They're having a quarterback convention in Arlington with Bob Stoops. He doesn't know what he's doing.
I don't understand. They got Perez in the shady deal, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna let him learn the playbook. And they watch him practice. Okay, this isn't going to work.
Let's sign that wrestler.
Right.
That kid from South Carolina. And boom, they do that. J Mark, your ears to the streets. What do you think of the Renegades? And is Kelly Bryant going to be seeing the field, you think?
I wonder if they're trying to set this up like kind of like last year with the Generals. Luis Perez, bring Bryant in to run some read option type stuff, but can also throw the ball. That's when Luis Perez really succeeded, right? When he had a guy that could come in, do like you said, freeze the defense, do that read option, then bring Luis Perez back in. And I wonder if they're trying to set that up to get some success there.
The only problem is they had Darius Victor, Trey Williams, and a very good offensive line. When I watch Arlington play ball, I'm like, that's the worst offensive line in the league. Now, I will say last week they saw some vast improvement.
They've been competitive in all their games. They just have a terrible offense.
And they can still make the playoffs.
They're one game out of first.
Yeah.
They're game out of first
they get
place.
the 1 seed. Yeah. Steven, what do you make of the Renegades and getting Kelly Bryant / Luis Perez, the carousel of quarterbacks that Bob Stoops has got there in Arlington? What do you make of this team? Are you at all, as a DC fan, are you like, I'm kind of don't want to run into Arlington, or like, no, you want to run into Arlington?
I'm really looking forward to playing them in 2 weeks because I think that'll be an automatic W. Not to jinx us or look forward past this week, but I mean they have to use them. I'm not. Why wouldn't they be picking up more offensive linemen? Because that's really what they need. But if they use Kelly Bryant, I think you force a defense to plan for, a different look. And, I think it will open up the passing game, but they have to use it. So.
Yeah. So that's an interesting thing there. The Vipers also, once again, I don't know what's going on.
I guess it's just for depth. I mean, because they just hate Hundley so much. Is that what's going on?
The one kid looked good. The NC State Baylor
McClendon,
guy. McClendon looked really good last week. And they have Brett Hundley, who's the highest paid quarterback in the league.
Right.
They send out Perez. Perez, Perez has 2 300-yard games and then kind of struggles a little bit. They're like, you're out of here. We're sending you out of town. And now they add D'Angelo Fulford, a former Mount Union guy, which that means he's never lost a game, because if you follow Mount Union, Mount Union football, they lose like 1 game per 10 years.
Right. All these week 8 signings too. By the way, going on, we're 80% done with this fucking season. These guys are eliminated. Vegas, the only team that's eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah,
that are signing Mount Union. Giving Mount Union
going on
for
here?
The future. McClendon was for the early future, and now we're thinking 10 years down the road.
Well, remember they have like unlimited roster spots. For some reason, San Antonio had like 100-man roster. They're pulling the old 1970s college football. Bear Bryant.
Yeah.
Oh, Alabama's dominant. Yeah, I only got a 300-man roster playing SMU, who's got 65 players.
Maybe he's paying. Maybe he's paying off a marker he drew up. Maybe he ran a hole in blackjack or something. Like, all right, we'll work it off playing for the Vipers for a couple of weeks or something.
Oh man, I don't know what we should make of. I mean, we talk about the news, but he can't be seeing the field here. They got Huntley making $200,000. They got the kid, what did I say?
McClendon.
McClendon from NC State and Baylor, who looked money last week.
Jalen McClendon, yeah, looked incredible. Been waiting his whole life for this opportunity.
Guys, we're not going to see Fulford on the field, right? Or am I crazy here? J Mark, talk to me.
Yeah, rumors are that Huntley hit on Rod Woodson's wife. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I can't imagine he will see the field unless they really, really hate Huntley. Otherwise, I guess it's just a depth move. I don't know. Maybe get him ready for practice. I'm not sure what to make of it.
I almost feel like it's a Huntley's request. Like, you better get someone because I'm not going out there. Anyway,
like, look, I gave you my name.
Yeah,
NFL, longtime backup.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not getting out there with that offensive line. You kidding me? Steven, what do you think of Vegas and this signing? I mean, they're already eliminated too. They
are eliminated, but they're ready. They're ready to play spoiler now.
Yeah,
they're getting the spoiler alert.
Steven, what do you think of the Vipers in this signing?
I don't really understand it. I mean, unless there's a bunch of injuries, which obviously we don't hope for, I can't see him seeing the field. This just sounds like a sign and stash, but who knows?
Yeah.
We've seen crazier things in the XFL.
That's true. Speaking of that, your defenders.
Yeah, they made a big sign.
Oh man, this one. And Philip Lindsay also signed with Seattle.
Yeah.
That's going to be an interesting one as we talk this Sunday. The defenders signed DJ Swearinger, the former safety for the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was on a few teams, right? And that's a huge name to get. I know the defenders' pass defense kind of been struggling a little bit, even though Greg Williams definitely the best in my mind as when it comes to defensive coordinating in this league.
Terrible outing last week, though, defensively at least. For sure.
I think they kind of phoned that one, thinking they got Orlando and a couple sharps like us.
Yeah,
we're on the Guardians.
Normandy Beach got them.
What do you make of this signing? Yeah, Storm and Dormady is on fire, but what do you make of this signing, getting Swearinger here in this secondary?
I like it. I mean, I think DC's defense they're giving up the most passing yards per game. So I think it's DC's defense has kind of been like Greg Williams. He's aggressive. He's going to blitz a lot. It's kind of bend, don't break, very opportunistic. So I like helping out the secondary here.
Yeah, me too. And J Mark, what do you make of this one?
Yeah, absolutely agree. And this is a guy, I mean, he's 31 years old, but a lot of experience. And I think that will really help the locker room. Even if it's just helping out, telling guys like, hey, you're getting out of position. Here's what you need to do. Things like that. He just brings so much experience to the team that I think that's going to help them a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I know we touched on the Philip Lindsay thing on Monday, but I mean, that's a big time signing, I think.
Huge game. It's going to be huge for the biggest game of the week.
That's a big time signing.
Yeah.
J Mark, what'd you make of that signing?
Yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do. Not to give away my lineup here, but am I crazy to just throw him in your DFS? Because this is a guy with a lot of experience that runs hard, I think he's going to fit that offense really well. He's a good pass catcher. I think he's going to fit the offense well.
Yeah.
And he's still young.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still young.
28.
He's
28. That's great.
Steven, did you like? I mean, I know you're a DC fan. You would have liked this. You would like to see that signing happen next week, not this week. But and you're going to probably run into Seattle maybe in the playoffs. If I know they're battling with St. Louis and DC. But what'd you make of that signing?
I think it's a good one by Seattle. I didn't even know, he was looking elsewhere. I mean, he was on the Broncos. He's a former Pro Bowler. I think they're just going to plug him in and just be like, all right, hit the hole. And, we're going to hand it off to you maybe like 15 times a game. And we'll see. So I think it's a great signing.
Field too, which I think fits June Jones's system. So I think it's a great signing. All right. Well, look, before we get to picking games, I want to tell you folks out there that the XFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog Fantasy is a great place to get down on fantasy and player props all year long. Underdog Fantasy has your favorite NHL, NBA, MLB daily games. Plus, they're already doing best ball drafts for the 2023 NFL season. And you can play XFL fantasy football there. Head over to underdogfantasy.com. Use the promo code SGPN for 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's underdogfantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by our driver giveaway. Yes, look, he's got the golf hat on over here.
Scumbagger Vance.
We're brought to you. Yeah, Scumbagger Vance is on board with the Golf Gambling Podcast and their tailor-made driver contest. The contest is completely free to enter, and you have a chance to win an awesome tailor-made driver. The drawing will take place on Sunday, April 8th. So make sure you get in by going over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/driver. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/driver. All right. Here we go, folks. Let's get into this action because I am super, super excited. I guess, should we go we can go chronologically. Let's go chronologically because game one, Vegas. We just touched base on who knows who they're starting at quarterback. Who knows we just saw this when Rod Woodson just refused to run the ball against the worst rush defense in the league. That this game bothers me because I had a heavy amount of money on Vegas in the first matchup, and they just decided after Abram Smith ran for almost 10 yards a carry, Rod Woodson's like, you know what? They're gonna think we're running the ball. Let's not run the ball and pass the ball every play. And Vegas got destroyed at Cashman Field. This one's at the Battle Dome. The spread I'm seeing right now is a current 7. Wow. St. Louis is laying 7. The over/under's at 46. The Vipers at the plus 255 if you want to jump in that snake pit. CJ, what are you doing here? You're big on Vegas. Talk me into why I should take Vegas.
Vegas, first of all, big win last week. I think they're embracing this role as spoiler of shutting Hundley down, going with McClendon. McClendon looked great, by the way. He looked great.
Better than he ever looked in college.
He's been looking for definitely. He's been waiting for this time. He was sitting on the LA Wildcats bench a couple years ago.
I caught them live.
Yeah, caught them live. And the same, I think they have the same general manager, so he brought him over. He didn't forget about him, and they're feeling themselves. They're getting chirpy on Twitter. Did you see them talking shit to your DC defenders there? See, I mean, they're having fun with their win. They don't get them too much. And this is a quick turnaround revenge game. This is the game that sent Perez out of town a couple weeks ago in Vegas. Right, yeah. And 7's a lot of points.
It is.
And I know it's in the dome, but it's also, I mean, I don't know how much you want to have a look ahead spot in the XFL, but if there ever was a look ahead spot for St. Louis, they just had a sandwich game where it is huge win in DC, and now the biggest game of the season.
No, huge win in Houston.
In Houston, I mean,
yeah.
I'm sorry, they got swept by DC.
Yeah.
Big win in Houston, I meant to say, and the biggest game is Seattle next week. They finished with 3 straight home games, and it's going to be Houston, and then of course the greatest team in the league, Orlando, who will dormantly. But that's way down the road. Seattle's their biggest game next week. I mean, I'm just saying 7's a lot of points. I like the way McClendon looked with Vegas. I think they can keep up with him. I think it's going to be a lot different than the game 2 weeks ago. Even if they don't run the ball, he does add a running element to it. I like the over a lot as well too. Over 46.
Going over on the 46. I mean, you didn't really talk me into taking Vegas.
Well, it's tough because St. Louis is they're just a well balanced team. Yeah. If anything, they're like a miniature NFL team where they do everything very well. Nothing incredibly great, but they do everything very well. So which is a way to a recipe to stay within the number if you're getting a live. I think Vegas is a live dog. A nice turnaround revenge spot. With
AJ McCarron, 17 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. In that way,
yeah,
he's. I mean, but I guess Tamu has 6-1. But both those two, you look at the other interception rates, and it's like Danucci has got more interceptions almost than he does touchdowns.
And I will say that St. Louis, with that huge DC Seattle game on Sunday night, it's a win-win for St. Louis no matter who wins that game. They it's advantageous to them no matter what the situation falls out. That they can either go for the division or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, and they can't lose this game, but
7 is a weird number in this league because I feel like that it's like 8.6.7 is a weird number. I'm gonna lay it. I'm gonna lay it at the Battle Dome there. I'm buying into Anthony Beck, Tony Meatball,
Coach Tony Meatball,
right? And
pack the dome,
right?
With their Ferguson protesters, their Blue Lives Matter crew.
Yeah. I mean, I just think the Battle Dome's going to be rocking.
They're
still leading the country in murder rate. So
it'll
St.
be
Louis
rocking.
still doing the good things.
Unless there's a Cardinals game.
And J Mark, we know you are. Is there a chance you're going to be at this game? I can see you painting your face blue and silver. I know you got the future on the Battlehawks. Do I even needed to ask, or are you just riding the -7 all day?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They covered it last time they played Vegas in Vegas. They're going to do it this time.
Oh, well, then it has to repeat itself.
Exactly. Now, the only thing with the look ahead, I get what you're saying there, but every game matters to the Battlehawks right now because they're deadlocked with Seattle. And I think that's what Tony Meatball is going to keep stressing to them. That, hey, we got to win every game. We can't be looking ahead. So yeah, I like the Battlehawks here for sure.
I admit that was a reach with the look ahead, but I was just throwing it out there. Listen, when you're back in Vegas, you look for anything you can as far as reasons why. I'm like, don't ask for reasons. I'm just taking them.
Fair.
You can also say Vegas probably plays better away from Cashman Field and the scissor lift. So
yeah, the O'Brien Kelly scissor lift.
Yeah.
Sorry for your family.
J Mark, what are you doing on the total? I lean over. I lean over too, right? I think we got to go over here. Steven, how about yourself?
Yeah, I like the over 2. I'm going to roll with St. Louis as well. 7 is, like you said, it's a tough number. Just with, obviously no extra point. You got to go for 1, 2, or 3. A lot of teams are going for 2. So I would feel a lot better at 6, but it's Vegas. I mean, McClendon looked great last week, but it's the Brahmas who – I don't put a lot of stock in that. They're in St. Louis. I like Seattle. They got to keep up with the other 2 teams, even though, like you said, it's advantageous whoever wins between Seattle and DC. They do have they don't have the tiebreaker against DC because DC beat them twice head to head. So
they'll be rooting for DC.
Right.
Yeah.
Because then they'll get the second spot. I mean, I won't go to the DC game yet, obviously. But yeah, they'll be rooting for DC and they're not going to, they're going to take Vegas seriously, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
will take them seriously. And I think a lot of pressure. Now that Vegas is eliminated, that's when they'll be at their best. Too.
I like you going to the snake pit here. All right. So this is the second game.
Not a care in the world, those Vipers.
This is the second game Saturday. The Arlington Renegades. Who knows what the hell they're doing? But hey, they're heading to Orlando. We know that. Check out those blooming onions Bob Stoops been raving about since he was the DC of the Gators with Sperrier. The Guardians are laying 1.5. The total's at 42.5, which just makes me laugh. You're getting minus juice on both sides. Even if you're going to take the dog, you're getting minus 105 with the Renegades. I think we were on to this one. First off, Orlando's been a covering machine ever since they went to storming Normandy Beach, baby. Quentin storming Normandy Beach. And I'm by, we have stamped ourselves. I know we were high. We have futures on DC and Seattle. But when we bought last week, so we bought before the season started, we bought futures on DC and Seattle.
Yeah.
We trusted the coaching and the roster. But mid-season, last week, 150-1.
We
dove in on the Guardians.
Which, by the way, I still see that number up there.
Oh,
by the way,
why has that not been adjusted?
I can't believe it.
They're just phoning it in over there in Vegas. They don't know about storming Normandy Beach. They must not have ESPN Plus. The over is gonna destroy here, right? I mean, I feel like Normandy himself is gonna put up 42.
I do feel like Normandy's gonna cover the 42.
I know Arlington can't score.
Who's going to be their quarterback out there? Kelly Bryant's not going to be the quarterback. But
it could be Perez. It could be Plitt. It could be Anderson.
It's got to be Perez.
This is like fucking Clue. Give me Perez with the lead pipe at the camping bowl.
Yeah, I said, absolutely. Like I said last week, how long do you need Perez to learn this playbook? If anything, run Vegas's plays. Who cares, Perez? Anything's better than what Arlington's got going on.
It's so funny. They cut to Jonathan Hayes, the former Battlehawks coach in XFL 2.0, who's the OC of Arlington. And they cut to him probably like 6 times a game. And every time he's like you, slamming the clipboard. You can see that he's cursing, but you can't hear it, but you can see him saying, like if you're watching on YouTube and it's just like, come on, man, you guys got to try something else. I made this case a long time ago. They're like, stop throwing the ball. When they had Sloter and they were going back and forth between Sloter and Pitt, I was like, You guys turn the ball over more than you score touchdowns. Run the ball. Your defense is actually good. I'm all over the Guardians though. I'm laying the 1.5. Terrell Buckley. I don't care if there's. I understand they send 9 out, 10 out on many plays. Doesn't matter. I'm buying into Normandy Beach. He doesn't need all 11.
Yeah. I laughed out loud when I saw this line. Absolute rough roars, right? Of course, this is a team that even like 2 weeks ago, they wouldn't even put up a number unless they're getting at least 10, 9 week in, week out. But yeah, I mean, I know Perez does scare me a little bit. And Arlington is competitive. They played earlier, and it was scored like 10-9, or something.
Yeah, it was before Dormandy, baby.
It was before Dormandy. I mean, this is not this.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's Paxton Lynch era. All right.
My only concern is though, can something happen, J Mark, where they win and still be eliminated from the playoffs with other scenarios?
No, I don't believe so.
They do control their own destiny.
Yeah.
Well, then let's ship it. Ride this train. Play the music.
Let's go,
Guardians.
Let's go. I will play the music. Yes. Let's go.
They're adding players. Katie Cannon. Did Katie Cannon get hurt? Is he? They like brought him back and he went back to the IR. Like he's like, what am I doing out here? Jordan Thomas.
I think Terrell Buckley's still like, what are we doing out here? But I can tell you this. Shane Matthews at OC, legendary, great Bears quarterback.
Yeah.
Right?
Ex-Gator.
Led you guys to a great 7-9 season in 2001, probably, if I had to guess.
Beat out Jim Miller one year for 2 years.
Right.
That offense is clicking, man. Spurrier ball is back. And here's what's interesting, though. Bob Stoops was the DC for Spurrier.
Yeah.
So he practiced against this offense, for a long time down there in Gainesville. This one's happening in Orlando. Shout out to AB in the chat. Says he's hitting the over for the Renegades Guardians game. J Mark, what are you doing
His
here?
only concern is the Renegades defense. Let me tell you something, AB. Don't concern yourself one bit because Normandy ain't concerned. He is going to light
Tommy Maddox 2.0. Just give him the XFL MVP.
Yeah.
All right.
6 touchdowns.
J Mark, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I'm taking the Guardians, but I'm going to go the under, and I think they're going to start a little bit slow. They just had this huge win over DC. I think they're still feeling themselves, and they start a little slow. They win the game, but I think it's a little less scoring than we think.
He's still offended about the reference to World War II. That's what it is. That's what it is.
They could be a bit of a letdown. Babies were kissed. Things were celebrated. It was like, Gatorade was poured. Champagne popped for the first win.
Oh, you can eat blooming onions after the game.
Absolutely. I mean, tilt the whirl,
Steven, what are you doing here?
So as much as it hurts me after Orlando took down the Defenders for their first win last week, I think the offense for the Guardians is the best unit on the field. It's going to come down to, can the Guardians make a stop against a really pathetic Arlington offense? And I think the over is going to hit just because Arlington's offense isn't great. Guardians defense isn't great. So I think there's going to be points. It'll be close, but I think that the Guardians are trying to make a push for the playoffs. And like you said, Storm and Normandy.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yes, sir.
He's going to continue his good play. So I like the Guardians.
Like the Guardians, and you like the over, correct? The over, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, an Orlando over versus anyone is just not a bad idea. It doesn't matter who they're facing because their defense is bad.
Can we get a future on Terrell Buckley, Coach of the Year? Coach of the Year when he wins the Extreme Cup.
I mean,
he's doing it, baby.
The rest of the field's coming back down to him for sure. Can he win comeback and Coach of the Year during the same season?
Sunday morning, we head to San Antonio, the house that Willie Anderson and J.R. Reed built. Moses Malone, Terry Cummings,
Sean Elliott,
David Robinson with those rolled up socks. We're going to that Alamo Dome, that filthy Alamo Dome.
Avery Johnson.
Yeah. What you got to do is you got to make shots. That's how you win the game. So San Antonio is catching 5 at home, live dog at home. Houston, the Roughnecks. It turns out old Pick Dundee still sitting on that hill talking shit about the Houston Roughnecks.
Yeah.
Where are those fans at, J Mark? Has the Reddits, has the internets, has the Twitters been blowing up with with those Roughneck fans that were calling me idiots, asking how much drugs I was on.
Yeah, they've gone a little quiet. A little quiet.
Funny how that works. It's funny how that works. Sometimes you got to flush a toilet on a team, CJ. And that's what we did. Roughnecks are laying 5.
Yeah.
The total is 40.5 that I'm seeing. The Brahmas are a nice juicy 175 on the money line. Benkurt's gone.
Right.
But they brought in what? They brought in Paxton, right?
Yeah. Bring on Paxton Lynch. Good luck with that offensive line, Paxton.
That offensive line.
Right.
When Benkert, he tweeted out, "Hey, I broke 3 ribs. I'm out for the year." I'm like, dude, send that bill to your right tackle.
Right?
Your right tackle
Jesus.
that game was. I don't know that I've seen a worse right tackle in any of these spring leagues. Like, just destroyed every play, even on plays that didn't even matter. He was getting just destroyed. Well, go watch the tape. It's absolutely hilarious. The Roughnecks have a good defense. Especially a good defensive line. And as much as I don't buy into this Roughnecks teams being any good, they're going to win this game. I want to take San Antonio +5. I think about that defensive line against that right tackle, and the other offensive linemen weren't playing great either, but especially that right tackle. Whew. I got to take Houston. It's just football 101 here. You got to take Houston knowing that. Now, I don't know if it's old McDonald, at QB, or if it's Silvers is injured, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Silvers is injured.
Tricep
injury. Man, this could be a juicy spot to jump on San Antonio, but I just can't take this team. CJ, talk me into. You can talk me into the Brahmas.
I'm not going to talk you into the Brahmas because this is what Houston does. They beat up on bad teams, right? This is what you've been preaching. They're awful division. They pummel those guys, and when they had to play anyone at the top, like any bully, when they have to find someone who can stand up to them, they wither. But this is where they get right. They are in the Alamo Dome, of course. And if they get laying 5 is not ideal with the way they look, but if they get to 20 points, they're going to cover. Because what is San Antonio going to do? They're not
season high of like 12.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. So if they get to 20, it's done. So this is the lowest total for a good reason.
Were we buying into that under on 40.5?
Tell you what, 40.5 seems high. Seems high for this, but Paxton Lynch obviously adds a little. I mean, he's an upgrade of anything, but he's also terrible in that offensive line. So, I mean, how many
Paxton Lynch? You actually probably are pissed that you got traded. Yeah, like Benkert just broke 3 ribs.
Right,
this guy couldn't block anything.
And it's amazing how many different opportunities Paxton Lynch is going to get to fool us into thinking like, oh, they got Paxton Lynch. Like, how many leagues
Former
and teams?
First round pick.
Yeah, exactly.
Former first round pick. So it sounds like you're on the under.
I'm going. I'll go under, but I like Houston here minus
All
5.
Right, I'll back you on this. I can't believe I'm taking the filthy Roughnecks. J Mark, what are you doing here in San Antonio?
Yeah, remember Paxton Lynch is 6'7". Maybe they're putting him at right tackle. Maybe that's the plan.
There we go. Put that tackle on the quarterback.
Couldn't be worse than what it was last week. What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm taking the Roughnecks. I think this is a bounce back spot. We all kind of in our power rankings have them right in the middle, right? They're not a great team. They're not the worst team. I think they beat up on the Brahmas, and I like the under as well.
Steven?
Yeah, I'm with you guys as well. CJ, like you said, they beat up on terrible teams. The Brahmas are on my shit list. I mean, last week was just a pathetic showing.
So bad.
I saw this stat somewhere. Since the Brahmas have played the Guardians in week 2, they've only scored 1 offensive touchdown in the second half. I mean,
that's amazing.
Which is incredible. I mean, I don't know if Hines Ward knows what second half adjustments are, but it's not going well. I think the Houston Roughnecks bounce back this week, and I really like the under as well.
Laying the 5,
I like it.
Going the under. All right, and then we get to our game of the week.
Yes,
Sunday night, 4 p.m. on the west, 7 p.m. on the east. The Defenders head into what's that stadium called now?
They're going to Seattle.
What's that? It's like a
Lumen
bunch
Field.
of .com. Oh, is it Lumen? Okay,
Lumen Field.
Lumen Field. To take on
the Seahawks player, don't they?
Yeah, and the Washington Huskies
and the
too,
Sounders. Right? Sounders also get in there.
To take on the Seattle Sea Dragons. Sea Dragons are laying 1.5. Remember Ben DiNucci back Aldi Field week 1 at the 1 yard line.
The DiNucci
fumbles away the game. The over under set 46.5. A lot of scoring here. DC Defenders plus 110 on the money line. Super excited for this matchup. Now, this is super intriguing to me because we talked about Greg Williams. The pass defense hasn't been great.
All right.
Well, what does Seattle do successfully? They run the run and shoot. They pass the hell out of the ball, right? But also Danuch known to give turnovers, right?
Everybody eats with Danuch. Offensive scores, defensive gets the ball. Everybody gets the ball with Danuch.
and then you have Seattle, which I think the defense with Ron Zook's gotten better, but I still think when I watch them, you can run on this team. DC, what do? They run the ball better than anyone in the league.
Yes.
That is why I trust running the ball and running the clock. I am on the defenders plus 1.5.
Wow.
I am on the under 46.5. I am on the money line and the defenders. Defend the district, baby.
Tally sites.
What are you doing? What are you doing here, CJ?
Well, this is obviously I'm excited for this game. It's shocking to me that DC hasn't clinched a playoff spot yet, and it's because of St. Louis and Seattle right on their heels with it.
I feel like had they won last week, they might have.
No, of course.
Yeah,
but that was actually kind of a big result for them. They probably got complacent, even though Coach Barlow does play Tim McGraw's humble and kind for them beforehand. I didn't know Barlow was that kind of crazy. Fucking the black guy who was into country music kind of crazy. Those are I like
Darius
that.
Rucker.
No, I love it. I'm not saying Charlie Pride. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying like, oh man, he's that kind of crazy. I love it. It makes me love my DC plus 750 future even more. However, with this game in Seattle at night, and it is a revenge, the new revenge from the opener, DC can still afford to lose it. And this is a big revenge game for Seattle. They have a double revenge game actually with the two teams that they've lost to. Because the only two losses were DC and St. Louis, right? And they're playing them back to back.
Good running beats good passing in these leagues.
That's true. But I like Philip Lindsay. I want to see what he can do. I like J Mark. Not to spoil my DFS, but I think he springs right in there and does some damage down there.
We think alike.
I think it's gonna be a tight game either way, but I'll take Seattle to get the revenge minus 1.5.
Woo! What do you and you going over or under?
It's 47 is a high number, but
I'm seeing 46.5 right now.
Either way,
they get to 47, you're cashing if you're going over.
Either way, I'm not playing it under. That's for sure. I can see why you would want to play it, but like,
you know why you play the under?
Why is that?
Because that's how DC wins the game.
Yeah. But their offense is getting better every single week. This is not. I know it's a DC. I'm saying it's a revenge game from week 1, but this isn't the same team from DC team from week 1. Yeah,
Tamu's been much better throwing the ball lately.
They can't be stopped.
Those receivers are emerging with Blair and Lucky Jackson.
Their offense can't be stopped, and their defense, as Steven was saying, has slacked off with Lisa Pass.
But they still make turnovers because Williams he's by far the best defensive coordinator in this league to me because even though they're giving up yards, they stress you out. Your quarterbacks are all stressed out when they go against that. They don't know who's.
I'll relay the message to June Jones. What you feel? What your belief in them?
I am a friend of the program. We've had June's been on the show before. Great guy.
And you have no faith.
Look, I have a future on both these teams.
I do too.
So in a way, I think I should probably root for Seattle. But anyway, J-Mark, what are you doing here in Seattle?
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that DC is not the favorite. I know they just lost to the Guardians. I get it, but they're still the best team that has been on the field out of every week. Every week you look, they're the best team. So I'm riding with DC. I think they win this game outright. Not just because we have a DC guest either.
No, Cater, read the room. I get it. So Steven, tell us why the defenders are in the perfect spot to pull the upset and take and
minor
they
upset.
Clinch if they win, right?
They have to clinch if they win.
Yeah.
They have the best. They have all the tiebreakers too with their division record too. They're like 5-0 in a division or whatever, which is the tiebreak and whatever.
Yeah, I think it goes head to head and then common opponent. So if they win this game, beat Seattle twice, beat St. Louis twice, and they're pretty much in for a playoff spot. So I obviously love the defenders to bounce back here. The recipe is going to be running the ball, keeping that Seattle offense on the sidelines. But I do think it's going to be a shootout. I think Seattle is going to be able to pass on the defenders' pass defense. So the defenders in response are going to have to throw the ball. So I like the over in this game. the defenders have been putting up, I think, like averaging 33 points offensively the past like 5 games. And they've also been giving up, points on defense. So I think it's going to come down to the DC defense making a stop, causing a few turnovers. Greg Williams getting after DiNucci. And I obviously like the defenders to win this game.
Yeah, DiNucci will oblige too when it comes to turnovers.
I look. I know you just said the over, but I'm looking at a weather report of rain all day Sunday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm looking at a weather report right now, which
plays
right into DC's hands.
When doesn't it rain in Seattle? That doesn't affect anything up there.
They don't even practice there. They're in Arlington.
Give me an alert if there is no rain. Then they won't know what to do with the waterlogs up there.
Oh, I love this defenders upset here. Let me ask you this: if you had one game to that you feel best about, CJ.
Whew, come on, not even. That's. I'll answer the same question this week and next week. Orlando.
Yes.
Okay. Guardians -1 here, and whatever the hell the line is next week for San Antonio when they get Paxton Lynch again.
I'm with you. I'm flying with the Guardians.
Yeah, Guardians.
J-Mark, what's the game you like most?
Yeah, agreed. You can't not at this point.
All right.
Steven, is this a dumb question considering you host a DC Defenders podcast? But what game do you like the most?
I mean, obviously I like the defenders, but I like Houston to roll on the Browns.
Yeah, let's get
I'm completely done with them. So
the chat just said something. Nick Holly, who was great in XFL 2.0 with June Jones with the Houston Roughnecks, was just traded to the Brahmas, which I didn't. It's hard to get news.
This is ridiculous. I mean, what is going on here?
The Brahmas, their offense can't move anyway, though.
I know.
So I don't think that changes our handicap, right?
No.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. Well, that we'll get to the DFS segment next. But before I do that, I want to send off Steven correctly here. Steven, we appreciate you hopping on the show, and everyone go check out the podcast, the Local Defenders podcast.
Mm-hmm.
They've had interviews with former players, and DC football is officially back. Tell us where they can find. That's on iTunes, Spotify, and is there social that you can plug maybe?
We're working on that. We didn't think it would become this. People would be tuning in, but we'll work on that. But yeah, Local Defenders. Really appreciate you guys inviting me on the show. It's been a lot of fun. I'm a big fan, and let's have a good week.
Of course, you've had Lucky Jackson on the show, right?
Yeah. He's great.
Yeah, he's a favorite here as well. DFS
big
favorite,
fan,
of course.
Big fan.
Can you get Reggie Barlow on there? Is that a goal?
We're working on it. We're moving our way up. So I think De'Aaron King and
send him some cowboy boots or something. Whatever that crazy motherfucker likes.
He said Abram Smith. I want to listen to that episode. He's playing his ass off this year.
Nothing but stars in that DC Defender team.
I love it, man, and appreciate you hopping on, man. And please come back again and talk DC Beer Snake Lemon Party football with us.
Yeah, after they ship the title.
Thank you so much, Steven.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
All right, buddy.
Take care, bro. All right. Well, this next segment, it is time. It is time for some music here.
Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.
You just don't turn it off because I gave you a DFS lineup last week that gave you straight cash. Magic Man Blanco. Shout out to Magic Man Blanco. He tweeted me saying he was in the top 20.
Woo. I mean, you couldn't miss with Stormandy.
He gave me some love for the Stormandy play. So yeah, all right.
Awesome play.
Well, this is the DFS segment right now. And we're going to dive into our DFS rosters. And we're going to win more money this week. Subscribe to the XFL Gambling Podcast. Tell a friend. And why are we getting these 5 stars on iTunes?
Right.
Get on over there. iTunes, 5 stars. That's all we're asking. You give me a 5-star review this week, I'll send you an XFL Gambling Podcast t-shirt.
Come on. You're too nice to these guys, Colby. You're too nice. We give them free money, and now they want t-shirts, too?
By the way, speaking of reviews, I don't know if you saw one of the reviews asked if Jonte Kirkland was out for the season.
Correct. That's right.
He is. Yes, he is. To
I
whoever
love
left
when
that
our
review.
5 stars are just, injury report. What's going on with Kirkland?
I just like, review comments or Q&As about transactions. So am I going to see him? That'll be up there forever.
Hilarious.
Unlike Kirkland.
Hilarious. Appreciate the 5-star review, though.
Yes, Kirkland is
at
done.
least you didn't give us a 1 star on that.
Kirkland is done, and Houston has not recovered since.
Oh, man.
It's destroyed their season.
All right, so do I even need to I guess I should get this music ready, because whenever we have the same guy in the roster, I like to play music. But to start things off at quarterback, am I going to be insulted that you guys aren't riding with the greatest quarterback in this league?
You probably are.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't even have him in, like, I love him. Arlington's defense is kind of, they're not the worst. I'm just saying they're not the DC's passing.
Yeah, Greg Williams.
No, I get it. There's a lot of choices. There's a lot of good choices.
For 9,400, I'm all over Stormin'.
Yes,
Normandy Beach, baby.
I love it. There's a lot of good choices. Stormy Normandy. Cole McDonald at 8,500 is pretty cheap. McClendon, your boy, at 9,200.
They keep signing quarterback. I don't know if he's starting. I know. He looks so good, he might not start for them.
Perez is. If I knew he was playing at 8K, I think is the best deal actually on this DFS roster.
If he's playing,
going against that Orlando defense.
Monitor the situation.
He has to be playing. There's just no other. I don't understand.
Well, they're signing other quarterbacks.
Right. I know. I think he has to be playing, but I'm not going to go with it. I want to take a page out of J Mark's book, and I don't know. I hate spending for quarterbacks, but this is as rock solid as you can get as AJ McCarron versus Vegas.
That's true.
11-7. He's pretty pricey.
Yeah, you're spending a lot on that Cadillac.
You are spending a lot on that Cadillac, but in that dome versus Vegas, he should. It'll be impossible for him not to have 250 and 2 touchdowns.
There you go.
Not impossible, but pretty hard pressed.
Well, Stormin' Dormandy's going to throw for 6.
Stormin' Dormandy's going to get at least 5. Right.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
At the same time, yeah.
And he's a little cheaper, 9,400. J Mark, what are you doing at the quarterback position?
Yeah, so this is tough because I was stuck between your guy CJ, AJ McCarron, and who I think you're picking, Colby, Stormin' Dormady. So you guys know me. I'm going to have a lineup with both of them. Have multiple lineups.
I play all 8 starters.
Yeah,
play 8 lineups, all 8 starting quarterbacks.
But I liked only spending 9,400 on Stormin' Dormady. So that's who I took. Give me Stormin' Dormady.
Doesn't even need 11 on offense. You go with 9, still going to get you points.
I will say for my 2 cheap ones are Perez at 8K, which I really like, and Cole McDonald at 85. If McCarron can do that, McLean, whatever the fuck his name is, can do that for San Antonio's ridiculous defense, then Cole McDonald is the same set of skills, but actually produces good numbers and has kind of a track record.
Those a couple crazy balls per game, but
he'll be able to run on them, throw on, do all kinds of things.
They call those worm burners, but all right, running back, what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
The best player in the league.
Yeah.
Is Abram Smith, at least on the offensive side of the ball. And it's going to be in the rain against a run and shoot team that doesn't know how to necessarily stop the run. Give me Abram Smith. I know he's still what 10,300. I don't care. He's got to be on my roster. The guy's an animal. CJ,
I think me and J Mark both leaked into it. I'm gonna go ahead and throw him right out, feet to the fire. Philip Lindsay, 7,800.
I got him too.
I mean, okay,
I load up the bags. Yes. You know me. I don't do this one running back bullshit.
You run the wishbone.
I load them up.
You run the wishbone at you every week, DFS. So I mean, Philip Lindsay, like we said earlier. I mean, he's an NFL Pro Bowl running back. Humble, XFL mentality, living in the parents' basement, even when he was on the Broncos. Young man, only 28 years old in that in that June Jones offense. He's what they needed, I think, to complete the Seattle offense. And fresh legs. Football is like the Benjamin Buttons of sports. The less you play, the more valuable you are. So the fact that he hasn't played 7 games, he got war torn.
I always thought it was the Legends of the Fall, another Brad Pitt movie, but it's in the spring now.
We'll fly fishing, sure. I don't happen. They're going to need that in the rain.
Well, they're going to need it, because the river does run through it. All right, let's keep going here. Let's J Mark, what are you doing at running back, and what Brad Pitt movie are you going to reference? 12 Monkeys.
Fight Club's an easy
Fight
one.
Club.
Yeah.
You got fucking Spy Game. All right, Spy Game. Come on, defense. I can see Dormandy. The Spy Game.
Mr. and Mrs. Abram Smith.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Nice. Well, I got both those running backs. I got Phillip Lindsay in my flex. I got Abram Smith as my running back.
There it is. There's Mr. and
Mrs. We got the same damn roster because I got Stormandy Beach. What are you looking at my roster?
You're looking at mine. Okay.
Yeah, I load up on both those backs. I think Phillip Lindsay is going to get a lot of looks out of the backfield.
Yeah,
a lot of looks out of the backfield. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, next up, wide receivers. I mean, I couldn't afford my guy Ja'Cour Pearson, and it hurt. It hurt because I've had him on my roster every week.
Right? What are you doing? Well, because Abrams' price keeps going up on you.
Yeah, and then so I had to bounce to Blake Jackson, who had a big game.
Love it.
$8,900. I believe in the run and shoot because you get that many looks. Give me Blake Jackson at 8,900. CJ, what are you doing at wideout?
And as Steven said, DC has the worst pass defense in the game. I think a lot of it is because teams are down too. So this might be, and you're expecting an under more of a battle of a fight. But I love Blake Jackson too. He almost made the cut. If I was pulling a J Mark, he'll be in one of my lineups for sure. Blake Jackson. Right now, I just went with the AJ McCarron Shepard stack. Darius Shepard 8,800. Yeah, I think St. Louis names their number this week versus Vegas at home, and Shepard looks great. 8,800. Darius Shepard.
He's really playing into this Battle Dome, this Battle Bots thing.
I think it's gonna be high scoring. I think Vegas is coming back at him too. But
J Mark, what are you doing with your highest price wideout?
Well, it's really weird. If Kramer was there and not Vegas, you guys would have thought he looked at your rosters and sent them to me. Because in my McCarron lineup that I was considering, I have McCarron, Lindsay, Shepard, just like CJ.
Yes. Okay.
But I like to stack with my quarterback, and you have to go with the leading receiver in the league, who's actually a tight end, Cody Latimer. He's my top receiver in the receiver tight end position. Still only 8,400, but he leads the league in yards, so it doesn't make sense to me. And I'm taking him.
I originally put him in, and then I switched to Jackson. I've been back and forth on this.
I was thinking about that too. I don't know. It almost seems too good to be true. Like, why is this price like that? And to quote J Mark from last week, the books don't care about the XFL. Right. I think that's the only reason why. It's the only reason why. That's the only explanation why it's priced like this. It's crazy.
That guy's a tight end.
Right.
We're not putting big money on him.
All right. Well, look, my second highest paid wideout. I'm taking you to Chris Blair. Guy's been coming on with the defenders. 27 catches, 334 yards on the season. I'm sorry, 27 targets, 17 catches. I think the targets have been shooting up as well. So I'm all over. The rain concerns me a little bit here, where I do have extra money and I probably could. Yeah, but I'm gonna stick with my defender
for 5,200. You have to. I also have him. So 7 targets last week, 5 for 139 and a touchdown.
Get the guy the ball. J Mark, do you have this guy Blair on your team?
Absolutely. He's my second wide receiver.
We have the same fucking teams. Everyone.
I know.
Why? Well, next time you guys can stay home, or maybe J Mark could just go solo on you. All right. Well, look, my third wideout. I did see that he did not practice on Tuesday. But Vic Bolden Jr., I saw him flash a little bit. And at 3K.
Yeah.
I'm all over Vic Bolden Jr.
You have a strong Vic Bolden fetish that's been going on for a while. I love to see it.
Did you not roster Vic Bolden?
Saw him flash. I like that. I saw a Bolden flash. I did not roster him, but I love you, Evan.
All right. Well, who is your? You're
my deep dirt cheap, because Bolden is what, 3K?
3K.
That's
go
amazing.
out there, bargain shop, blue light special going on in Arlington.
Absolutely, that is incredible. So my bargain bin when I'm going to the dollar rack the dollar rack and Sam Goody. In between a couple, you can get any of these Orlando receivers down there. That's that's not you got Daniel Williams. He's at 3,800. He had 4 for 47 last week. But I went with Eli Rogers at an even 4K. He's got the NFL talent. He had 7 targets last week. He didn't produce much. He's only 4 for 25, but 7 targets.
Targets is all that matters.
That's all you want to see. You want to see the opportunities, and Eli Rogers has a talent. And
guy gets so many. He probably works at Target in the offseason.
And this is just the beginning with Stormy Normandy. Let's get on this bandwagon and just ride this Orlando offense as much as you can.
Go.
So for 4K, Eli Rogers.
I like it. J Mark, who is your lowest priced wideout?
Yeah, I'm only showing this so you don't think I'm just copying yours. I've got Vic Bolden for 3K.
Yes.
This guy, just pencil him in right there. You thought while CJ wasn't talking that I didn't realize that you could sit there and write shit?
Right. And he just shows a scribbled out piece of paper to the camera.
Yeah, I see there's like names crossed off too, right? This fucking guy. Yeah, I mean, Vic Bolden, I think, especially if Perez is playing, watch out. You got if Perez is playing, Bolden's going to have over 100. You heard it here first. All right. Do you have any players left, CJ? I feel like you might have one more.
I do have one more. It was between Blake Jackson and this is a guy I totally ripped on for his price because I thought his price was outrageous. And then I watched him play, and I'm like, well, maybe the books do know something about the old Iowa State Cyclone, Landon Akers, who just came back from an injury. And as bad as San Antonio looked, he had 7 targets, 6 for 75. He was everything out there.
But Benkert's gone.
I know.
Paxton Lynch.
I'm fine. I love Paxton Lynch. Okay. Paxton Lynch helping out. Whatever. I mean, if anything, that's should improve. He's 8,200, but like he was everywhere out there, and like he was unguardable. He's just that slot receiver that just goes and the ball. Like the whatever, your Cole Beasley type, but he just looks like
making rap albums.
Yeah, absolutely. He looks like
not getting vaxxed. I like it.
Yeah, he looks like those
Iowa, man.
He works the merry-go-round in some Iowa mall or something like that. He just looks like one of those rats that hangs out there, All
right, so, defensively, I could pretty much do whatever I wanted to do. I'm all over the roughneck defense. I saw that right tackle. I cannot fade this roughneck defensive line against one of the worst, by far the worst performance I've seen from an offensive line standpoint in professional football in a very long time. Since I saw Steve Spurrier try to block Simeon Rice with Trunk candidate as head coach of the Washington Redskins, I'm going to go no back. We're going to bring Trunk candidate out of the back. He's going to block Simeon Rice. All right. That was like that. So give me Houston at 4,400. I'm leaving it. I got like 1,200 on the table. Not even a problem. No, I got 1,000 on the table. Not even a problem. What are you doing defensively, CJ? I think defensively there's only really 2 options. There's Houston at 4,400, which you went with, and if you guys want to go bargain shopping, I'm going to play it. Just to go against the grain, I'm going to go with the cheapest defense out there, 3,600. Give me these Orlando. I think Orlando's going to have a part. They're just partying down there. I mean, they're going to let up points and yards. That's fine, but they're going to make. I love Will Hill. They're going to make plays, and who knows what the hell's going on with this Arlington offense anyway? And like, I don't think teams are going to be ready for what Orlando's got. Fair.
We see it, but the rest of the league doesn't see it. You better take notice. Vegas doesn't even see it. They still got 151 on this freaking team. And Jordan in the chat saying, "Goddamn Dormandy, that's a guy who put money on the defenders last week. You should have listened to us, buddy." J Mark, what are you doing defensively? And did you steal my entire roster?
If you pause and go backwards, you can see that I already held this up and it says Roughnecks there.
Yeah.
It's getting more clever.
In his defense, I mean, they're the clear-cut option on defense this week, though, Houston, for sure.
Look, I mean, I would just make the assumption that San Antonio's starting a different right tackle. I mean, if the league is wheeling and dealing, helping them, you know what I mean? If all these leagues are helping these shitty teams, I guarantee you, Miss Garcia and Mr. Johnson are sitting there saying, "Who the fuck is that? Get him out of this league." So we got to help out the Brahmas. Folks, subscribe. That's our show. Yes. Subscribe to the XFL Gambling Podcast, Spotify, iTunes. Give us that 5-star review, please. We'll give you a shirt, brand new shirt. You know, our studies say that brand new shirt, if you wear a brand new shirt, your chances of getting ass go up 79.8%.
There you go.
So get yourself a new XFL Gambling Podcast t-shirt. Go down to the bowling alley, and old Rebecca's probably going to be interested in who the hell you are. All right. So 5-star review. All right. Check out C.J. Sullivan. He's at Champaign, Illinois, or somewhere.
Schaumburg, Chicago, also known as Chicago, the Chicagoland.
Yeah. Where are you at?
If you will, the Improv.
The Improv. There you go. Go check him out at the Improv this weekend. What days? Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Thursday through Saturday. I'm leaving tomorrow morning. More importantly, subscribe to the Bottom Line Bombs.
There you go.
On YouTube, Spotify, all the things, and also 5-star reviews. You'll get one of Colby's shirts if you do that.
Yeah, you got one of my used shirts.
Yeah.
Just in my closet.
No merch on that, just from his personal collection.
Might have a couple dog hairs on it.
A couple Aeropostales that don't stretched out a bit.
J-Mark, folks, give J-Mark a follow on Twitter at JMarkFootball. By the way, CJ Sullivan's on Twitter at CJ Sullivan_. But check out J-Mark just did an episode I got to be the guest on. It was fantastic talking football with him and his wife. Old-fashioned football podcast. Absolutely fantastic time. They were, asking me about whiskeys. We're talking about the Jameson Distillery in Cork, Ireland. Go check that out. We're also talking a lot of great football. They're asking me questions on quarterbacks, running backs, wideouts. He doesn't like defensive players, so he didn't ask me on any defensive players. But I get it, and that podcast is great. You should go check it out. Also, check out the College Football Experience. We are releasing episodes every single day. I got to do another episode in a couple hours here. So check out the College Football Experience. Also the College Basketball Experience, the College Baseball Experience I host as well. We come together on YouTube, youtube.com/the College Experience. Subscribe over there. And USFL Gambling Podcast. We just went live season preview episode a week ago. We got another one on bat tomorrow. So let's go. All right. Let's get the SGPN app. Also, it's free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store, and come talk, XFL football with us in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. And all right. Until next week, or the recap show Sunday night, this is the XFL Gambling Podcast. You better start thinking about yours, and we out of here.
X marks the spot. X marks the crossroads. 2 straight lines crossing over in the middle. That's the letter you must see to find the treasure or the clue or the X-ray machine that's looking right inside of you. X is the letter without which one could not do. X marks the spot.